Hey guys, welcome back to another live discussions with Dr. D. I am super duper excited on today, and I'm super excited about my special guest. I have none other than the Naida Rutherford of Style by Naida, and today we are talking all things woman. And of course, when it comes to women, when it comes to the things that we love to do, one of the things that you will find that most women are always in discussion about is about how they look, their styles, their clothing, their jewelry. I mean, you name it. And today we're discussing owning your style. And as a woman, it's important to feel unique with what you wear, how you look, how you present yourself, because of course, we know that first impressions are often lasting impressions. And so we want to make sure that you are comfortable as a woman. And Naida is going to talk to us about her story, how she became a thrifter, like just all of the different and amazing things that she's done as a courageous woman. And I wanted to feature her in this month's Women's History Month live dream living, because I'm certain that she's indeed living her dream and will be leaving her legacy. So Naida, can we talk about who is Naida?
So it depends on the day. Honestly, I wear many hats, as most women do. First and foremost, I'm a mom. I have two amazing little boys, and so I'm a mom before anything else. And secondary to that, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a nurse practitioner, I'm a caregiver, and I take the time to service my community, to volunteer in my community. So I've always described myself as, when someone asks me that question, I always say I'm a servant.
That's really good.
So it doesn't matter what title I may hold for the day, I'm always in service to someone.
That's
so
super good.
if you ask me who I am, I'll say that I'm a servant.
That's really good. I really, really like that. And I'm all about that servant life. So that really makes me feel good that that's your heart towards the community. Style by Naida. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came to be and, what the future looks like for Style by Naida?
So Style by Naida started off as a way to earn money during a very tumultuous and financially depressing divorce. And I was just kind of laying in bed, and I've told this story a million times. I was laying in bed praying and crying, and I just couldn't figure out, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm doing everything right, but the bills keep coming. It doesn't seem like there's any end to it, and it's an expense that you're not prepared for.
Right.
You just don't know how much getting a divorce may cost you. And so I was just struggling really, really bad. I was in school full time. I lost my job, but I was in school, so I was like, maybe, this work study thing will help. But for those of you that have ever had work study, you know that it is not a lot of money.
Right.
Okay? So to summarize, I literally was laying in bed praying and crying one night, and I was looking into my closet, and I was like, you are sitting on thousands of dollars. You're a thrifter. You find all these amazing things. You are sitting on money.
Wow.
And you are holding on to these things for what? Why are you holding on? So the first thing that I had to do was to determine what my plan was. And so I go into this in great detail in my book, which will be out by March 30th, Yay. The NATO Method, Finding Your Everyday Style, and a guide on how to do that.
And we're going to talk about that later, too.
Yes. But I had to go through this very personal process and say, okay, how am I going to do this? And so I said, you know what? I love garage sales. I love thrift stores. How can I do something similar to this and bring in some money? And I did. I started having what I called boutique yard sales.
Okay.
And I would set it up like a store. I'm a shopper. I know what women want. And so I took the time to make it a beautiful experience, not just your regular dirty little yard sale where you're picking through dirty clothes and dirty boxes. I hung everything up. I had it tagged. I really tried to give women an experience. By the third yard sale, I had to hire security.
Wow.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes, it was something. So it wasn't this, I did not think that this was going to turn into the business that it is today.
Okay.
But I'm very happy that I followed my heart in doing something, and it came out of financial hardship. It came out of adversity. And so I'd like to leave people with a word of wisdom. You can turn what you have into money. You just have to figure out how to monetize those things.
That's really good.
And I was able to do that.
That's good. That's and a very inspiring story, which kind of leads me into like the next question. Like, of course, we are talking, and we're not, of course, leaving our men out because from what I'm told and what I heard, she has this new thing that she's doing now for men.
Yes,
the men's line is coming, but it's Women's History Month, so we are definitely focused on women. And I was inspired when I went to Naida's website, and I follow her on her social media spaces, and I was inspired by her story, like her background, where she came from, and a lot of people see Naida all over. I mean, you've seen her, and even Senator Kamala Harris has literally blasted her all over the United States. So when she came to visit, but Naida, could you tell us a little bit about like your background as a woman, like coming into the knowledge of the confidence of being Naida?
Because it's not something I've always had, Dr. D. Like, I really struggled a lot with self-doubt, with self-esteem issues, and people see me and they're like, she's this beautiful girl. She, she walks confidently. She speaks well. She's got it going on. But it took work to get to this place that I'm in. When you grow up in an abusive environment like I did, you grow up in poverty, you grow up with someone telling you that you just won't ever amount to anything ever in your life. Those things, we may not always acknowledge some of those childhood and adolescent experiences that shape us, that shape our mentality. But I always say to women, how you present yourself has a lot to do with what your life experiences have been. So if you've been taught to be ashamed of your body, if you've been taught to be ashamed of your talents, then you carry that into how you present yourself every single day. And I was carrying around my pain, my hurt, and not just in what I wore. Dr. D, it was in everything that I did, whether it was academically, professionally. I would know that I could do it. I would get to this point, and then all of a sudden the self-doubt would come in, and I would say to myself, oh, you know what, maybe I can't do it. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not enough. And I'm 38 years old. I just turned 38 in February. And I'll say this, I feel like in year 37, I grew up. I had to
That's
deal
good to
with...
hear.
Yeah, because people think you have it all figured out, right? But sometimes you do figure out certain parts, but you don't have it all figured out. And I'll never say that I know everything or I have it all figured out, but I'll say that in year 37, I grew up. I had to learn some things about myself and relearn some things that I was kind of holding on to and getting rid of those ideas that I had. So growing up in foster care, growing up in an abusive environment really taught me to be resilient and taught me to be brave and courageous. So now as an adult, when adverse situations come my way, I can say, you know what? My success rate of having survived bad days is 100%.
Yeah.
I have a 100% pass rate on getting through bad days.
That's so good.
That's a perfect score.
That is a perfect score.
So when you know that God kind of has your back with some of the things that I've been through, you have to just acknowledge His presence in your life.
Absolutely.
And then you have to say to yourself, okay, I've made it through all of this. I know I can make it through this too. Because everything really will be okay.
It really will. Like, it's funny because it might have been earlier this week. There was a scripture that I don't remember exactly like fully what it was, but it spoke to the fact that, all of the things that we go through, like God is with us. And so we really will be okay, especially when we have that understanding that we're not doing this alone. And when you were sharing your story, I think about even my own, and you talked about resilience. You talked about being able to overcome challenges, and even to those of us who are adults, because when she said at 37 is when I grew up, I wanted you all to hear that, because oftentimes at 18 or 21 or 32, we think we should be at a certain place when, our lives are already really mapped out. And nothing that we go through surprises God. And so it's like,
You're the only one surprised.
Yeah, you're the only one surprised. Like, why is this happening? Why am I just getting to this space? But he knew all along what we had to go through. And just like Naida's background, mine is not traditional either. You know, being raised by my grandparents, you know, going through just tumultuous situations, bad relationships, just everything that happens to you as a young person, you carry with you when you present yourself. And so because we're talking about like owning our styles, literally what happens to us, we don't realize it, but we own that stuff.
We own it.
So we've got to start flipping the narrative and owning what's good about us, owning what's complimentary for us. And so my next question, Naida, for you is like, why is it important for women to ensure that like the way that they dress and the way that they're styling themselves is complementary to their shapes, to their skin tones, and even into their career and work environments? Like, why is that important for women?
So first, I have to say, it's more than clothes. It is more than clothes. How you present yourself is more than clothes. It's the language that you are using to speak to the world. Before you ever say a word, it is the language that you are speaking to the world. And what are you trying to say? Dr. D, when you go and you're teaching and you're shaping our youth, you know that you have to present yourself a certain way.
Absolutely.
If you're trying to teach young people how they should present themselves in that same type of career, correct?
Absolutely.
So the way you present yourself is more than clothes. That's number one. Number two, Dr. D, how you carry your hurt and your pain and those adverse situations, it shows up in your everyday dress.
That is very true.
So when you're depressed, you don't take the time to do your hair. You don't take the time to put your makeup on. You don't take the time to go get your nails done, to do self-care things that a happy person would do.
Right.
Because you're in this depressive state. And so I say to women who are struggling with that, one, you need counseling. I'm not, saying you don't need medical care. But what I'm saying to you is that you're carrying that around and people see it.
Absolutely.
And so one of the things that helped me get through my situations was I always said to myself, you don't have to look like what you've been through.
My
you don't
goodness.
have to look like what you're going through. Take the time every day to get up, get dressed, put your face on, go get your hair done. Even if you don't have the money, find a friend that does hair or something. You need to do self-care things. So that is a huge thing, because when you stop doing those things, you stop taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
And it shows.
It really does.
The people
show.
at your job are like, is she sick? What's going on with her? Her hair's never done. And they may never say anything to you.
Right.
But they know that you're hurting.
Right.
For me, I dress up every day. It is the thing that I do for myself because it makes me feel better. I had a friend of mine recently who was going through a divorce, and she's very, very upset. And I told her, I said, I'm challenging you to get up and get dressed.
Wow.
I'm challenging you to take the time for yourself to do self-care things.
Absolutely.
And you know what she said to me a year later? She said, I would curse you out. I would get off the phone and be like, oh my God, Naida, doing my hair is not going to make me feel better about, me getting a divorce. And she said, one day I just said, I'm going to do this just to see how I feel. And she said, I felt better.
It does change.
It's a time out. It's a time out for yourself.
Yep.
We are running around. We are wearing a million hats. We are moms. We are short order cooks. We're the cleaning lady. We're professionals.
Everything.
We're entrepreneurs. We're doing so many things. When do we take the time out to breathe and say, I want to look like what I want to be addressed as. I want to dress the way I want to be addressed. I want to present myself to the world in a way that is complementary to my brand.
Yeah.
And so I tell women, they say, well, I'm fine. I like wearing sweatpants. I wear t-shirts on the weekends. Here's the thing. If you run into a potential client, if you run into a student, if you run into someone that you may work with in some type of way, and your first thought to yourself is, oh my God, I look a mess, then you are not presenting your best self every day. And that's my goal with women. It's more than clothes. I want you to present your best self every single day. And that's why owning your style and learning what looks best for you is so important. I don't want you, you and I did a consultation before we came on live.
We did.
I don't want you to walk around in stuff that doesn't look right for you.
Correct.
I'm going to tell you.
Absolutely.
Before I was ever a wardrobe stylist, I would say to you, honey, this is not the best look for you. And it's not to be negative or critical. It's to say, let me help you look and feel your best.
Absolutely. And she's definitely like telling the amazing truth, because working in a professional environment, especially for myself, as an adjunct at the university level, where we're impacting children and their future, like that's one of the things that I share. It's even written in my syllabus for my students, especially for my female students. Like I don't address only female. I address both male and female, but for my female students, I'm very intentional about sharing with them what's appropriate, what's important, what do you want to do with this particular major? And do you think if I brought a guest speaker in who worked in this environment would want to hire you based on how you're presenting yourself now? And they wouldn't. I always give them that option. And literally when I walked in this morning and we were preparing for the live, and she said, what is your actual size? And we were talking about like the different things, and I had even the top that I have on has like the drawstring that kind of accentuates the fact that I have a smaller waist, but I have larger hips. And so she was like, well, this will probably look, this looks good because it draws you in, but then let's talk about the different things that you can do for other styles and other types of patterns and fabrics and different things. So we even had a dress and change and different things that we were doing just to kind of see what looks good on me. And I appreciate that because, one, my shape is very, very different. And then I'm short. So there are different things that may look good on someone else that may not look good on me. And a lot of times as women, we're very, we admire different types of styles, but we have to be cognizant of the fact that what looks good on us, may not look good on another sister, and vice versa. Because I'm short, and sometimes wearing long skirts, it does not I'm already short, so it brings me down to the ground. Rather, I need to look for knee length because it accentuates. It kind of gives an illusion that I'm a little bit taller than what I am. So it's like those different things that women in particular, don't really know.
They've never been taught. I ask women when they come to me for style consultations, have you ever been taught how to shop? But more importantly than that, and I always say it's more than clothes, when you go into that fitting room, what is the feeling that you have? What self-criticism are you taking into the fitting room with you about you? And really, it's probably not even you. It's the words that you've heard throughout your life. For those women who developed very early, they talk about, I have a friend of mine who developed breasts very, very early. And she talked about how even now as an adult, she tries to hide her chest. Well, her chest is very large. She can't hide it. So she puts on all these layers and she looks like she's 3 times larger than what she is. Okay. So it's more than clothes. You got to deal with the psychology behind what you're dealing with when you walk into that fitting room. But understanding your body and understanding your strengths and your challenges, that helps you be able to go and find things that make you look your best for your body type. We may all love, Michelle Obama, but not all of us are almost 6 feet tall with nice slender, jeans in us, okay? And so you just have to learn what works best for you. And I think that's very important. So, when people come to me, it is so much more than fashion. It's so much more than a dress. It is about the psychology behind why you choose to dress the way that you do. And if you really don't feel comfortable with it, let me help you find a style that is complementary to your life, to your work, and to the things that you do most commonly. So like, you look amazing today, and it's great for what we have on, but you may not necessarily wear this to teach your students.
Right, absolutely.
And I think that's the important thing that I try to to teach our youth is that there is a time and a place, and there's code switching and style switching that you have to be able to do in this world.
Absolutely. I love the fact that your consistent approach to style is always a matter of what's happening on the inside. Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes as women, we've been taught to switch the outside, but never really deal with the inside.
Exactly.
And so that's one of the things, and it's been a common theme throughout all the questions that I've asked you, where you talk about what's happening in the heart and the mind. And of course, it does matter. We're actually, towards the end of the month, we're doing a live about mental health and women and the different things that, plague us. But not realizing how important fashion is the expression of our mental health. Like, really not even thinking about that until you actually, dove into that a little bit more. So I definitely appreciate it. I'm certain the audiences who are viewing, and those that will, come on later for the replay, will appreciate the thought process and the intentionality behind that.
Right. Everything that I wear has intention. When you go to a wedding and the bride walks down the aisle, what is the bride typically wearing? She's wearing a white dress, and she's beautiful that day, and it sends a message of happiness and love and purity, right?
Right.
And so the psychology of color, like, what if you're wearing colors that actually depress you? There really is a such thing. Like, if you're a person that was made to wear pink when you were a kid, and you hate the color pink, and someone gives you a pink uniform to wear, you are not going to be a happy person at that job. You're probably not going to stay, and it had to do with a color. And you may say, I hate this, I hate this, but it may have been due to the fact that someone forced you to be in a color that you hated. And we don't think about this. I just did an image consultation yesterday, and we talked about colors and what are you trying to portray, and she was like, this is overwhelming me, like it's a lot. And I said, what? She said, I don't have any opinion about it. Like, I don't care. And so the more we talked, she said, what? Actually, I don't like orange. I don't like pink, and I don't like purple. And she said, I really do like the colors blue and green. Okay, well then let's put you in more of those colors because they make you feel good. Let's find a hue that works for your skin tone so that you can wear things that make you happy. It makes a difference. So I just want to share with the audience that, hey Kelly, I just want to share with them that you don't have to look like what you've been through, and that if you deal with the psychology, if you deal with those internal feelings about your appearance that have been bothering you, I encourage you right now to embrace where you are. This does not mean that you won't lose weight. It doesn't mean that, after the baby, your body won't change. But embrace where you are right now so that you can still present your best self. Embrace the body that you have, and then work towards goals. Like, if you don't like your arms, you know what? Tone your arms. But while you're toning your arms, let me teach you how to wear blazers and layers to mask the area that you don't like.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that you can't change it. It just means that we're going to help you embrace where you are so that you can present your best self.
That's so good. And let me tell you about the psychology of colors. It's so true. Growing up, hey Kelly, growing up, my aunt always forced red on me. She was like, red just goes so well with your skin color. And it was just everything red, red, red. She loved red dresses, red everything. And I didn't necessarily hate the color red. It was never my go-to because of that experience. Like, no, I like blacks. I like earth tones. I like, your soft greens and different things of that. But as I became older, and things change, and that's the thing that and you have to realize as women too, especially with fashion and style, things will change. Like, pay attention to those markers. There's some times where we're in my late 20s, I would wear one thing. When I got into like the early 30s and I tried to go back to certain things, it just really didn't feel right. It was like,
it didn't fit your life.
Right, it didn't fit my life. I kind of graduated from this outfit. Not that the outfit was bad or it wasn't appropriate. It's just not feeling that like anymore. And so when I got older, I actually like red. So now I buy more reds because I'm comfortable with it, and it was my decision.
Exactly.
And that was the biggest thing because I had to make the decision, and I didn't want anybody telling me what I needed to, and that's just my personality. Don't tell me what I should be doing or what I should be, like, let me develop that, especially when you're young. You're still developing your likes and dislikes.
Exactly.
Like, and so I'm pretty certain she's proud now that I wear a lot of red. But that is so important. It's so true. So I'm glad that young lady that you were talking with walked away with more knowledge and confidence in her ability to choose things that were good for her.
Yes.
So that was really good. So we talked about it earlier. We kind of alluded to it, but I do want you to give our audience like a sneak peek into the Naida Method.
Thank you so much. So I'm very, very proud of this book that I've written. It's called The Naida Method, and Ending Fitting Room Frustration, A Guide to Finding Your Everyday Style. And what this book is, I like to call it the little fashion Bible. This one, the chapter that starts the book is called the Purge chapter. And I go through my personal story. You know, I told you that, you know, I grew up in foster care, that I went through a lot of negative things. And when I got to the place in my life where I could afford to buy nice things, I went overboard. It almost to the point of hoarding, because I was like, oh my gosh, I never had new shoes growing up. Now I can have new shoes all the time. I have the money, I have the resources to be able to do that. And I married someone who could provide me with very beautiful things, and did so on a regular basis. And so when I was going through this kind of purge and cleansing process, I realized that I was holding on to things for sentimental value. They were not serving me well. They were not serving my life at all. You know, I'm holding on to this dress or that dress because it gave me some sort of positive memory, but I wasn't even wearing it. I'd had things in my closet I hadn't worn in 3 to 5 years. And it was ridiculous to have all of that stuff. You can't even wear it all. Right. Now, I haven't given up my shoe collection.
That's so hard for a woman. Y'all don't really understand. Like, it's
shoes.
A struggle.
It is.
The shoe struggle is real.
It is. But the book just goes into understanding what you need for your foundation, really assessing what you have. What if you say to yourself, like, I want to have more of this in my closet. Okay. Well, you don't know that until you purge it. So purge, there's an assessment guide in there to help you kind of do a self-assessment of what you have and what you feel like you want to bring in. Okay. There's a questionnaire. So it has a workbook feel to it almost, to try to help you develop your everyday style. And I promise you guys, this method is proven that if you go through the process, if you go through the book, it's not even a 60-page book, okay? But if you go through the process, I promise you that you will come out on the other end not only owning your style, but understanding what looks best on your body type and how to present your best self. I promise you will go into any fitting room, whether virtually or in a brick and mortar store, and you will have the confidence to shop and efficiently. You're not going to waste your time on things that will never work for you. Yeah, so you would know, like, you know what, I can wear A-line dresses, I can wear bodycon dresses. I'm not going to waste my time on a shift dress because that's not going to look good on my body type. So we teach women the advantages of having your body type and then the challenges that you face. For women that have very large breasts, you can't just wear a button-down shirt. It doesn't work for your life. They don't make them to fit that way. And so I teach women how to do it efficiently, effectively, and to do it with confidence. So that's what the book is about. Awesome. Please, it'll be available, I think, March 30th. It's still in the edits will be ready on the 18th. So I'm so excited. We've already got Amazon set up and Kindle, and so I'm so excited. But guys, check it out. It's called The Naida Method.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And of course, the professor in me is super excited that it's not just a book, but it's a workable book. Like, I love the fact that you're able to actually take this and, you know, like she said, it's like a workbook. So it's not just information, but it's information that can be applied where it yields results. So that's super dope. And I'm super excited about that. Can't wait to get my copy. So yeah, Naida, one thing before we actually wrap up, we have, you know, we've been in, now halfway through March in Women's History Month. And of course, last month we celebrated Black History. And one of the things that stood out to me when I was looking to have you on live discussions is the important factor of like fashion on a larger scale. Mm-hmm. And last month we had an amazing breakthrough on the level of the Oscars, where we had one of the women who received an Oscar for her designs in the Black Panther movie. Mm-hmm. It was Ruth Carter. And so as a female, as a Black female, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is in the fashion industry, mm-hmm. How is that encouraging for you?
So, first of all, the costumes in Black Panther were amazing. I mean, she is a genius, okay? But I'll say this. I believe in the power of telling a story.
That's good.
Especially in the movies, especially, when you're doing anything, in cinema, right? Mm-hmm. But I believe in the power of telling your story every day. And so I think about myself and the way I get dressed, kind of like a costume. Today I wanted to look kind of serious, but I wanted a little fun with my earrings.
Gotcha.
That I was intentional about what I put on. But to see someone who has kind of dedicated their energy and passion mm-hmm. to telling a story, mm-hmm. because Black Panther was not just about the figure of Black Panther.
Absolutely.
There were so many other undertones to that. The fact that she chose to dress the women warriors the mm-hmm. way that she did.
Yeah, right?
She made their bodies powerful and almost like they didn't need much to look strong.
Right.
That she didn't put them in all this heavy armor. And that tells a story.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have these like very strong African American women who are bold.
Yeah.
She chose the color red.
Yeah.
That's a sign of strength in that way. And so it's very inspiring to see someone like that live their dream and live their passion. And it inspires me to just not stop doing what I'm doing, because here's a woman who, obviously humble beginnings, and then to get to this place, it's pretty amazing.
That's super good. And that's one of the things, again, of course, I'm going to always be an advocate for youth. And one of the things that you shared was the fact that she came from humble beginnings, but look at where she is now. And the fact that she was intentional mm-hmm. about bringing the strength of the female essence to life. Right. That was super amazing. And I want to make sure that, if you're young or if you're seasoned, that you understand that, there is power in the gifts that you've been given. As Naida shared earlier, like, her story, her fashion sense is all about telling a story. Mm-hmm. And, doesn't matter like your background, how much money you have.
Because, honey, I grew up poor now. Let me tell you. I mean, I can take this dress I have on cost me 50 cents. These earrings maybe cost me $1. I feel cute.
Yes, it's adorable.
But just knowing that you don't have to have this huge budget to look amazing. And, the thrift store, come down to Style by Naida, 607 Lady Street. Everything in the store is $5 today, almost everything. Stuff a bag for $25. So do my shameless plug there.
No,
but you don't have to spend a lot of money to look amazing. You don't have to expend yourself in such a way that you're in debt trying to keep up with trends. Just learn what looks best for you. You don't have to look like what you've been through, and you don't have to look like you have more than what you have.
Absolutely.
We live in a social media driven society, and there's this this hunt for the perfect photo and the perfect this and the perfect that, and really you can look just like an Instagram model. You can look the way you want to look, and you can do it on a budget. I do it every single day, and I'm not ashamed of it.
Right, absolutely.
I've been wearing secondhand clothes my whole life. Like, it's fine.
Right, and I love that because it's like full circle.
Yeah,
like
it is.
It's really full circle,
Mm-hmm.
and same. I'm not a big name brand person. I was sharing that with you when I first came in, when you were talking about like styles and different. I was mm-hmm. like, you know what? If it fits well, I'm with it.
It's
like
mine.
It's mine. Like, I don't care if it's 50 cents or $50. Like, if it fits me and this is something that I want. Now, plug, I try not to spend so much money, on clothes, because I just really, I don't think that is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can really look good without spending thousands of dollars or living beyond your means. but it is important to look comfortable for yourself. Like, I don't even with me working out and the different things that I'm doing, it's for me and it's for the longevity of my life. Like, it has nothing to do with wanting to look like an Instagram model or anybody like that. Like, you can still look nice and be you. Yeah, like, you know, I've always been hippie. Even when, you know, I kind of think I am like
the hourglass figure.
Yeah, like I've always had, you know, hips, always, like even when I was smaller in high school. But I love my shape. And I don't want
It's the only one you got.
Right, it's the only one I have. And I don't want anybody else's shape. I just want to make sure I wear things that complement my shape. That, you know, and I don't seek this, but usually when I go places, I'm complimented very well on the things that I wear, on, you know, how it's fitting and different things and that. And I'm happy about that because mission accomplished. Like, I've got it where it fits me.
But you're presenting your best self.
Right.
And I think that's the point of all of this. You know, you didn't bring me on here to talk about fashion. You brought me on here to talk about, like, how do you get to that point where you're owning what you have? And again, you can change the way your body looks, but right now, today, are you embracing where you are, and are you dressing for the body type that you have? Not to say that you won't change.
Right.
And I love that you say that. You know, you're not seeking attention, but you are presenting yourself so well that other people want to compliment you. It has nothing to do with your dress or your shoes or, you know, you present yourself well, and it matters.
It sure does. So guys, I hope that, you know, through our discussion today that you're able to learn a lot, as I have. I enjoy, you know, speaking with people from various walks of life, and Naida is a super jewel. I mean, it's
Thank
like,
you so much for having me.
You're quite welcome. So guys, make sure you share this video. There are a lot of things happening, you know, within this video, the information that we shared, and of course, a lot of new things happening. And it actually worked out better than either of us could plan, because this is actually the week where you are celebrating 1 year of business. So that's super cool. Like, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even know actually when we set this date that it would fall on the week of your 1 year anniversary. So I'm super excited, and I'm elated to be able to stand beside you as you continue to grow your brand, continue to grow and reach people. Your just ability to serve people through your story, and, you know, through the shop here at Style by Naida. You guys stop by. Please, you know, I'm in here now. Trust me, she's been a blessing, but I do not plan to leave here without grabbing me something to make sure that, you know, she gets poured into. So spread the word about live discussions. We're having an amazing time. I would love to chit chat with you and, you know, just kind of share what you guys are doing out there. Again, this will be posted on my page, Dr. D Unlimited, as well as on my website, www.drDunlimited.com, as well as on my YouTube page, youtube.com/Dr. D Unlimited. You can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. D Unlimited. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate your time. Have an amazing Friday and a super amazing weekend. Thank you, Naida, again for coming.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Love you. Take care.
Bye,
Bye, guys.